This video will be about chain rule for derivatives in calculus. What is chain rule? Chain rule is how we differentiate composite functions. It says the derivative of f of g of x is equal to the derivative of f g of x times the derivative of g of x. What is a composite function? A function is composite if you can write it as f of g of x. In other words, it is a function within a function. For f of g of x, g is the function within f. So we call g the inner function and f the outer function. An example of a composite function is cosine x squared. In this case, f of x, the outer function, is cosine of x. And g of x, the inner function, is x squared. In this case, we can write cosine x squared as f of g of x. Another example of a composite function is f of x is equal to sine squared x. Sine squared x can also be written as sine of x squared. The inner function here is sine of x, and the outer function is x squared. Let's do an example for a chain rule. Let's differentiate h of x is equal to 8x minus 2 to the fourth. First, we notice that h of x is a composite function. The inner function, g of x, is equal to 8x minus 2. The outer function, f of x, is equal to x to the fourth. Because h of x is equal to 8x minus 2 to the fourth is a composite, we can differentiate it using chain rule. Chain rule basically says the derivative of the composite function is the inner function within the derivative of the outer function, f prime, multiplied by the derivative of the inner function, g prime. So first, let's find the derivatives of the inner and outer functions. We started with g of x is equal to 8x minus 2, and f of x is equal to x to the fourth. So after taking the derivatives with power rule, we get for g prime of x, we get 8, and for f prime of x, we get 4x to the third. So now that we have our functions, let's apply chain rule. So after plugging the functions into chain rule, we have 4 times 8x minus 2 to the third times 8. And 4 times 8 is 32. So we have a simplified final answer of 32 times 8x minus 2 to the third. Let's do another example of chain rule. So for this example, let's differentiate h of x is equal to sine of 3x squared plus x. In this case, inner function g of x is equal to 3x squared plus x, and the outer function f of x is equal to sine of x. So first, let's find the derivatives of the inner and outer functions. So for g of x, which was originally 3x squared plus x, we would get 6x plus 1 for g prime of x. For f of x, which was originally sine of x, for the derivative, we would get cosine of x. So now that we have our functions, let's apply chain rule. So after we plug in chain rule, we get cosine 3x squared plus x times 6x plus 1, which can be rewritten as 6x plus 1 times cosine of 3x squared plus x. That brings us to the end of the video. Thank you, and I hope this video was helpful.